Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is our submission for the 2024 International Supply Chain Global Case Study. We're coming from Aswan, from the Arab Academy for Science, Technology, and Maritime Transportation. Here's our team, the Eagles team. We have Tariq, Abdurrahman, myself, Ahmed, and Sarah. Now, this is a bit of an executive summary of what we're going to be discussing during this presentation. So we're going to be talking about supply chain due diligence, mapping green tech's supply chain, and potential risks for a company that neglects supply chain due diligence. This is exactly what I'll be talking about. Here is some of the goals that we interpreted during our study of the case. We have environmental sustainability, operational efficiency and cost reduction, ethical social responsibility, supply chain transparency, and risk mitigation. Here's the rest of the questions with Sarah.
Thank you, Abdurrahman, for introducing me. Question 1. Green Tech Innovations mapped its entire supply chain by 3 processes. Number 1, identifying all direct and indirect suppliers. Number 2, understanding the geographical locations of each supplier and regulatory environments they operate in. Number 3, recognizing key risk areas in the supply chain, specifically where social and environmental risks were likely to emerge. A detailed understanding of the supply chain is crucial for identifying potential risks, such as human rights violations, environmental damage, and operational disruptions. In Green Tech's case, a lack of transparency led to severe reputational damage when one of their suppliers was found to be violating labor and environmental laws. Key components of Green Tech supply chain due diligence include number 1, supplier audits to assess working conditions, environmental practices, and compliance with both local and international standards. Number 2, stakeholder engagement, like local communities, NGOs, and industry experts. Risk assessment tools, utilizing frameworks like the OECD due diligence guidance for responsible business conduct to systematically evaluate risks across the supply chain. Green Tech engage with, as we said before, local communities, NGOs, industry experts. This engagement is important because it allows Green Tech to gather comprehensive, unbiased insight into the social and environmental issues that could be impacted their suppliers. Additionally, it helped the company align with international human rights and sustainable standards, reducing the likelihood of facing public backlash or legal challenges. Green Tech focused on 3 areas: labor practices like fair wages, environment management like manage waste and reduce the carbon footprint, and community impact like land rights, displacement, and public health concerns. How do poorly labor practice and the environmental mismanagement in the supply chain affect a company's reputation and operations? A company's reputations by causing public outrage and harming customer trust. Operational side, it can disrupt the supply chain by causing delays, legal action, and increase the costs if remediation or corrective measures are required. Okay, what measures did Green Tech implement to address the issues found during their supply chain assessment? Number 1, supplier code of conduct. Number 2, training and capacity building by providing training for each supplier. Regular monitoring, regular audits, and monitoring to ensure that suppliers continue to meet compliance standards. A supplier code of conduct helps improve supply chain practice by clearly outlining the expectation for suppliers, setting a benchmark for ethical and responsible practice. It acts as a contractual tool for suppliers. Why is supply chain diligence critical for modern business, specifically for those operating globally? Globalization has expanded supply chain, often stretching across regions with varied and sometimes weak regulatory frameworks, increasing risks. Due diligence helps prevent legal and regulatory risk, operational disruptions, and consumer backlash. What are the potential risks for a company that neglect supply chain due diligence? Number 1, reputational damage. Number 2, regulatory sanctions and legal costs. Number 3, loss of market share. And number 4, operational disruptions. Thank you, and now we will continue with Tariq.
Thank you, Sarah, for this great opportunity. Now we will talk about question number 6.1. How can companies balance the need for cost efficiency with maintaining ethical supply chain practice? Firstly, selecting ethical suppliers that offer competitive pricing. Second, investing in technologies that improve both productivity and sustainability. Finally, engaging in transparent, responsible sourcing that can build brand loyalty and customer trust. Question 6.2. What are the possible financial implications for companies that invest in ethical supply chain management? Let's look at the possible answers here. Increase customer loyalty and higher sales. reduce the risk of costly disruption of fines. Finally, foster brand reputation that can attract investors and reduce cost of capital. Question number 7.1. What challenges might companies face when enforcing social and environmental standards across their supply chain? Firstly, culture and regulatory difference across countries that can make enforcement difficult. Second, lack of visibility into remote of subcontract supplier where unethical practice may be more common. Finally, resistance for suppliers who may be unwilling to adopt higher ethical standards due to cost, concerns, or established practice. Question number 7.2. How can companies overcome these challenges? By building strong relationship with suppliers based on transparency and collaboration, ensuring mutual benefits. Second, implementing comprehensive training program to help suppliers understanding the importance of compliance. Finally, utilizing third-party editors and technology to gain better visibility and enforce standards. Question 8.1. How does engaging with stakeholders contribute to more effective supply chain management? Number one, uncover risk. Local community, NGOs, and industry experts can provide valuable information on potential social, environmental, and ethical risk. Number two, foster collaboration. Engaging stakeholders can create stronger, more collaborative relationship with suppliers and other business partnership. Number three, ensure the company's policies align with local expectation and best practice. Finally, improve decision making by involving stakeholders. Company can make more informed decision, mitigate risk early, and prevent reputational damage. Question 8.2. Examples of stakeholders green tech might have engaged with suppliers, customers, local communities, NGOs, industry experts, regulatory bodies. And now let's introduce Ahmed for the next points.
Hello, my name is Ahmed Hassan and I will continue with you with question 9, part 1. Can you think of any real world examples where companies faced issues due to lack of supply chain due diligence? Discuss the outcomes. One notable example is Nike in the 1990s. During that time, Nike faced major backlash due to revelations of sweatshop labor and poor working conditions in its factories in Southeast Asia. This resulted in a loss of consumer trust and significant brand damage. In response, Nike overhauled its supply chain practices. They increased transparency, enforced a strict code of conduct, and established monitoring and auditing systems to ensure better conditions. Similarly, Apple faced criticism related to labor practices at its supplier factories in China, particularly with Foxconn. Reports of poor working conditions and worker suicides led to protests and negative press. Apple responded by ramping up efforts to improve labor conditions. They conducted audits, published supplier responsibility reports, and collaborated with third-party organizations to enhance worker safety. Question 9, Part 2. How might the lessons learned from green tech innovations be applied to other industries? Green tech supply chain due diligence approach is applicable across various sectors. In the apparel industry, brands can adopt similar practices to ensure suppliers comply with labor laws and ethical manufacturing. In food and agriculture, companies can implement these standards to prevent environmental damage like deforestation or unsustainable farming. In the automotive industry, companies can ensure that their suppliers meet safety, ethical labor, and environmental standards. By following green tech's model supplier mapping, auditing, stakeholder engagement, and continuous improvement, these industries can create responsible, transparent supply chain. Abdurrahman Ayman will complete with you.
Now, into the 10th question that says, what are the long-term benefits of companies investing in the supply chain due diligence? We have many benefits, such as enhanced reputation. The company is going to be known for their commitment to sustainability and ethics, which tend to build a stronger brand loyalty. We also have risks mitigation. Now, the companies can actively be on top of any disruptions that happen in the supply chain or before it happens. We have cost savings through the company investment into renewable materials, which is going to be cost saving in the long run, attracting investors that prioritize companies that adhere to environmental, social, and governance criteria. So now they can get ESG conscious funds. The company can be acting as a consultation for other industries that are interested in implementing their supply chain due diligence for their own prospective industry. Now, these competition or these benefits can translate into competitive advantage by the company differentiating itself from other companies. And now they can market their products as being environmentally friendly and ethically sourced, which is going to attract consumers that are likely to buy from companies that demonstrate social responsibilities. Now, into the 11th questions. Why is regular monitoring and continuous improvement important? Because it allows the company to address emerging risks and be on top of risks that might appear to changing regulations, such as labor laws or any other laws. We also have building trust. The company can now be established and known for their ethical considerations and their ethical practices. Is going to be building trust with their customers, suppliers, and most importantly, stakeholders. We're correcting issues promptly. That's the problem that green tech faced. Now we can be able to proactively and be on top of any disruptions before it even happens and leak to the public or become a problem. What tools or methods can company use to ensure ongoing compliance? Companies can use audits like physical visits to the suppliers. We also have supplier performance dashboards to make sure that help performance or help the suppliers track the performance, like indicators like labor practices, environmental impact, and ethical conduct. We also have third-party certifications such as the Fair Trade or ISO 14001, which refers to environmental management, or SA 8000, which refers to social accountability. We also have supplier surveys, which can take the service and any problem that suppliers might occur during their conduct. We also have, for the 12th questions, we have a very important statistics from the OECD. We have from 28 to 43% of the child labor comes at earlier stages in the supply chain. That's why we have global standards such as the OECD due diligence and United Nations guiding principles that can help the organization align with international expectations to make sure everyone is on the same line and everyone is treated the same way, and standardized practices as we have a common language among every organization, among every party in the supply chain. We have the same regulations we adhere to. Now, what the benefits that the companies adhere to, the companies that operate internationally can benefit from adhering to these regulations. We have helped navigate regulatory environments. We have avoids conflicts with the laws, prevents human rights violations, wins trust of customers and investments, and of course, this is going to strengthen any company's global position as a sustainability leader. Now, for the 13 questions, we have personal reflection on what companies can do or unethical practices that other companies might have done. For example, any company that was established for their ethical considerations or ethical practices, after a while they turn out they're not really that ethical. They don't conduct ethical practices. At that moment, consumers are going to have a lot of emotions like disappointment, frustration, and they want accountability for the people responsible to this. Now, a lot of companies that might have done this was in the 90s, because a lot of companies had that sweatshop scandal in the 90s, as discussed in question 9 was Ahmed. We also have another company, a video game developer company called Team Bondi, that due to poor scheduling had to make the employees work overtime through holidays for more than 2 years and did not get paid their overtime at the end. Many of them left the company before the game they were developing even finished, and the company were dropped down at the end. Now, it's very important as a customer, ethical practices in the supply chain are very crucial. Now, companies being transparent for their sourcing, commit to sustainability, the fair treatment of workers often earn my trust, of course, and loyalty. So yes, to answer your question, it would absolutely influence my purchasing decision. I would prefer to support companies that value align with mine in terms of the social and environmental aspects. At the end, the green tech's case study just kicks the door wide open for how important social and environmental and labor sustainabilities are, and puts a very good blueprint for any other industry in this market or any other market that wants to apply supply chain due diligence. Thank you very much for listening to our presentation. Have a very nice day.